everybody, this is Ariane Arsenault from La Fille de la Mer, and today I'm going to show you how I make some novelty silicone molds for soap making. I'm going to show you up close. So this is the silicone, so the mold, the end result. And here I have a shell that has been molded. It's still in the silicone mold. And here I have the end result after pouring soap into these molds. So I'm gonna show you all of the process so that you can see how I make these. They are so easy to make. You can totally make them at home and mold pretty much any object you'd like. I like to mold seashells because I live on an island and these are shells from my island. So it's really significant for people who buy these soaps because they are actually taking back a shell from the islands in the form of a soap. Hi Deborah, Angel, thanks for tuning in everyone. Okay, so let's start at the beginning, and I'm gonna take you guys a little bit closer to my work table so that you can see what I'm actually doing. Okay, so here's my work table. There we go. And everything that I need is on my workstation. Actually, I don't need all these soaps. This was just to show you. These are some that I made yesterday. I'm gonna move them out of the way just a little, but you guys can still look at them because they're so pretty. There we go. Okay, so you need a scale. You need the silicone patty, which is a mix and apply by hand silicone, and I'm giving a link in the description box below. I wrote a blog post on how to make these silicone molds last year on the Modern Soap Making blog. So I'm not gonna give out all of the details in the video. You guys can just click the link and have like step by step and all the measurements on the Modern Soap Making blog, and say hi to Kendra in the same time. All right. If you don't know the Modern Soap Making blog, it's from Kendra Cote. She's an amazing soap maker in the US, and she has so many tutorials, and she also provides help for soap makers, so you can like buy her services for whatever you need. She's pretty much a pro at everything soap making. All right, so you need to wear gloves to mix the silicone. It's kind of like Play-Doh. So the mixed ratio is 20 parts A for 1 part B by volume. So I'm doing this on a scale. I put a little piece of plastic film to protect my scale, and I'm just gonna go grab the patty with my hands. And to mold this shell, I've already calculated my recipe, and it's in the blog post on Modern Soap Making, so you can find that out there. But oops, I'm in pounds, so let's put this in the correct unit. All right, so it's pretty easy to do. Just put the silicone patty, follow the steps on a scale. Oh, I got a little too much there. There we go. And then I use a popsicle stick, and I just press a hole with my fingers, like to make a little gap. I tear my scale, and I mix the part B a little, and then I'm just gonna add the 1 parts B by volume to the 20 parts of A. There we go. That's good. No, I don't want to waste any of this, so I put it all back in the jar, whatever is left on the little popsicle stick. And then you have about a minute to mix this in, and then 5 minutes to apply it on your object. In this case, I'm using this beautiful shell from the Magdalene Islands. And so here we go. I'm just gonna fold it together so that my hands don't get all covered in the pink part B. And I'm just gonna stretch and mix until everything becomes kind of light pink. And there we go. If you are in Canada, and if you would like to purchase this type of silicone patty, you can write me a question in the comment section, and whenever I am available, I'll answer you. Or you can pop me a note in my Facebook page, on my La Fille de la Mer Facebook page online, because the link to the Modern Soap Making blog is for the US place to buy this product from Smooth On, and they don't ship to Canada, so I had to use one of their resellers in Canada to get this to me. Okay, so now you can see that this is pretty much a uniform color, and always be careful when you mix not to get too many air bubbles into the mix. Now I shape it into a ball like that, and then I take my shell. I'm gonna try to show you guys from up close what I do. So I position my shell and I kind of push it into the silicone patty, and there we go. It's like Play-Doh, so I just push it on the shell, just very gently, and I'm always careful that there's enough silicone everywhere. If it's too thin, once you remove the shell, you could rip the mold, so it needs to be like fairly even. You have 5 minutes to do this, so you kind of got to work quick, but you still have to be careful. I like to put 2 fingers into the shell and like this, hold it, and then kind of feel everywhere around it, so all of the little details are like impregnated into the silicone. And by the way, this silicone is like museum archival grade. Like, it won't damage object. It's like it's made to do replicas of very old things, like, I don't know, like old frames and things like that, if they needed to be reproduced. So there we go. I think I'm pretty good. Now, I'm just gonna make sure that the tip of the shell is thickly wrapped into the silicone. Now, I'm gonna make sure also that my silicone is high enough so that when I pour my soap, it doesn't overflow from one side. So I'm gonna make a little edge all around of the mold. And again, I'm just pressing. And then if I leave it like that, it's okay, but it won't hold straight on my table. See, this doesn't roll around because I made a flat bottom to this mold. So I just place it on my table, or I could put it back in the tray here, wherever, and I'm gonna position it so that the top is flat up. Just like this. Again, make sure that everything is nice and even. And I'm gonna let it set like that for 30 minutes, all right? You don't wanna touch it anymore after this time, as it's gonna start to set up, and you don't wanna ruin anything, so you're just gonna leave it like that for 30 minutes. Now, I have one here that I made last night that I kept into the shell, so I could show you how I unmold this one. So you're gonna need an X-Acto knife if the shape is really intricate, like the shell here. But depending on what you're molding, you may not need an X-Acto knife. I just like to use it. I'm gonna lower you guys a little, move a few things out of the way. Aren't these beautiful? I'm gonna be packaging them a little bit later on today. Okay, so I take a little X-Acto knife. This is like performing surgery. And very carefully, I'm going to cut the top. And I'm gonna try not cutting the shell. And then with my fingers, I'm gonna start flexing the silicone to remove it from the shell, just like so. And if I didn't cut it, oops, I just ripped my gloves, but that's okay. All right. And I'm gonna open it up, just like that. There we go. See, it's coming off. And again, I'm gonna put my fingers inside of that shell. I think I need to cut a little more. There we go. Okay, this is always the tricky part because the rubber or the silicone is always really, really firm once it's set up, and you need to pull it out. All right, pull, pull, pull. Try not ripping the mold. And there we go. The shell is out. And you got a beautiful soap mold. Now, some shell may have a little sand or clay or dirt, so make sure to wash your newly made molds before making soap with them and removing all little shell pieces that may be left in them. So I'm gonna put this one on the counter so that I can wash it. All of the other ones have been made this week. And I'm gonna show you how easy it is to unmold. So taking the shell out of the mold was a little tricky because this is solid and it's not slippery. But soap is very slippery, so it comes out of the mold very easily. So here is the same shell that I just unmolded. And I'm just gonna kind of wiggle around, put my fingers all around of the shell, and then flip it out. There you go, you got one shell. Wasn't that easy? So if you live by the beach and you have a soap shop and you want to have some unique molds that are very unique to your soap shop, this is how to make them. Pick up some nice shells. You can always ask fishermen if they find nice big shells that are the size that fit nicely into the hand to collect them for you. There are shells around the world, so take your pick. I personally like to use local shells, but I've seen shells online that you can actually purchase, so you could buy beautiful shells and then just mold them, but I prefer to collect them myself. This one was actually given to me by a friend who is a florist, and she has all of these shells from the island, and she uses them in her arrangements. And I just went by her store and I told her that I was looking for shells for my product, and she was so happy to give me 2 of her shells, so I was lucky. I didn't need to find these on the beach because all of the ones that I collected this summer were really small, but these are the perfect size to hold in your hand and to wash with. So that's it. If you have any questions, you can pop them in the comment section down below. Oh, let me show you how I pour the soap into these. All right, let's make a small batch of soap. I actually have some soap melting on my stovetop, so I'll be right back with you guys. I'm still here. I know you can't see me. I'm just mixing up some soap. Okie dokie. This is just plain white soap, just for the purpose of this demonstration. So I'm using melt and pour. You could use a cold process recipe. You would need to make a recipe that is hard, solid when it solidifies, and that maybe like sodium lactate would help too for the release, because these shells have a really like intricate shape and they could be hard to unmold for cold process. I have never tried them. I just keep them for melt and pour. So there you go. Pour the soap into the molds and voila, you've got some nice, unique molds that were made and that are unique to you. In this case, they're unique to my brand. All right, let's raise you guys back up. Just gonna say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will post a new video next week. I was not done with the editing, and since I was making these this week, I thought I would share with you guys. Hey, Michelle Latcha, have you tried doing any block molds and having several shells in one mold? With this type of silicone patty, you can't do that. You would need to buy like a more fluid silicone, and then you could line them in a sheet. I just like this way to make them. There are other types of silicone, other types of molding processes, so you could totally look into that, but this is just like my process. This is how I make them. I find it so easy. And yeah, I just put them in a cookie sheet. I pour my molds and I let them set up. I pour into my molds and I let them set up, and then I pop them out, and that's it. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you again very soon. Bye. Bye, Sabrina, Capra, Sylvia. Oh, from Germany. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Goodbye, everyone. Oops. I can't see the end button. There it is.